Hi everybody. I have been getting lots of requests for how to make my lemon curd. And so I'm going to be crazy and shoot a video of the process. All told, it generally takes over 10 minutes. I'll pause a few times in order to give you guys a break while I endlessly whisk. My lemon curd takes 2/3 of a cup of lemon juice, 2 cups of sugar in my lovely mise en place bowl, and 6 eggs. Some people will optionally put in butter or lemon zest. I don't. I have a lot of friends who are unable to have butter or dislike the texture of the lemon zest. I've got a double boiler going here. That's nice hot water underneath a metal bowl because I don't have a double boiler pot. I'm going to start by putting my lemon juice in the bowl. And then I did, believe it or not, actually measure out the sugar. I'm going to go ahead and pour the sugar in. That's 2 cups worth. It's much smoother than the last time I tried to video this. And then I'm going to go ahead and start whisking the sugar into the lemon juice to dissolve it. This is the first step of the lemon curd, is making sure that the lemon juice is good and dissolved. Oh, sorry, the sugar is good and dissolved into the lemon juice so that you almost end up with a lemon syrup. This does take a few minutes, but the heat helps it dissolve. And generally, you'll see, you get that little bit around the edge there. That will kind of disappear as you go. And so you'll know you're done when you don't feel like you're kind of scraping sandpaper around the edge there. Just that for 15 to 20 seconds. So I am making not just a little bit of lemon curd, but a lot of lemon curd because it is my friend's wedding this weekend. Congratulations, Ray and Liz. And they adore lemon curd. In fact, they have been known to fight over it when I gift it at holidays. And Ray has been known to sit and eat an entire jar. Because of that, I am making them lots and lots of lemon curd. I got a pint jar case of a dozen jars. I got 4 pounds of sugar, 2 really big bottles of lemon juice, and a 5 dozen flat of eggs. And we're going to see which item runs out first. Alright, that lemon juice looks to be mostly dissolved there. I'm going to let that heat up a little bit while I do the next step, which is to come over here, and whisk the eggs. You want the eggs to be super, super runny. So you want them good and beat. Not quite enough. Still kind of thick there. Alright, there we go. That seems to be fairly thin. I'm going to move that over. I'm going to go ahead and dump the egg mixture straight into the lemon mixture. And then start whisking right away. Whisking is the most important part of making lemon curd. If your lemon juice is not up to texture and the sugar is not fully dissolved, it can cause some issues, but even those can be overcome by whisking. You will whisk the entire process of making lemon curd pretty much non-stop. So you can see it's all kind of well combined at this point, but it's super runny. If you do not whisk constantly, or your sugar hasn't melted into your lemon juice, etc., you can get what I call the scrambled egg effect. And the scrambled egg effect is when it kind of sticks to the edge or the bottom and the eggs cook up instead of combining into a creamy, thin pudding-like texture, almost a custard texture. And you end up with lemony scrambled eggs. I'm going to go ahead and pause so that you do not have to watch me whisk endlessly. Note that foam, perfectly normal, but still liquid underneath. We've only been whisking for about a minute, maybe 2, and it tends to take about 10. So I'm going to pause and check in periodically with you. All right, we're only another minute or so into the whisking process. As you can see, there's no real change yet. You got that nice kind of buttery, creamy yellow color there. That is not from any kind of food coloring, as you could see from my ingredients. It is primarily from the egg yolk. You get an even richer yellow if you use duck eggs. But what I wanted to come out of the pause for is to give you a warning. You will be tempted to stop whisking. Don't give in. Don't do a load of dishes. Don't go pet the cat, pick up the book, answer the phone. Just keep whisking. If you don't, then you end up with lumps in your lemon curd. Now, it's entirely possible, see, shouldn't do that. It's entirely possible to go ahead and get those lumps out, and I'm going to show you a trick for that. But the more lumps you end up in your lemon curd, the less lemon curd you get overall. This is a double batch. Single batch is a recipe that I can always remember because it's 1s and 3s. It is 1 cup of sugar, 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice, and 3 eggs. We've got double that in here, as I said in the ingredients earlier. A single batch will make about 3/4 of a pint jar, and a double batch will make about 1.5 jars. All right, gonna pause again. Endless whisk. Endless whisk. Unpausing to yet again show you the endlessness of the whisking. We are about 7 minutes in, and it's still super thin. Super, super thin. But the trick with lemon curd is that it goes from super thin to pudding sometimes in a matter of seconds. And we're starting to see the beginning of that transition now. It's not actually thick enough yet, so I'm going to cook it probably for another couple minutes. But I wanted to check in and let you see when it's at that soupy state, but not quite done there. I'm starting to see the imprints, almost soft set, but I want another couple of minutes on that. All right, it has been another couple of minutes, and we are clearly getting those imprints now. See that whisk imprint there when I pull it out and it's not going away very quickly? That means that we are at that thin pudding custard state that lemon curd is best at. Now I did get some stickiness, you can kind of see there around the edges. Even though I whisked the whole time, it will invariably have a little bit of the egg texture mixed in there. But what we are going to do is run it through a sieve. So I'm on my 3rd or 4th batch of lemon curd now for the evening. I just rinsed all of this out before starting this batch. I'm going to go ahead and move my whisk over into my bowl so I don't contaminate it with my eggs. And grab my, oh there it is, my pot holder here. Be very, very careful, because even though I just replaced the water before this batch and it wasn't quite boiling when I showed you earlier, you can see it is at a nice rolling boil now. I had that on medium temperature, just so you know. All right, and I'm going to dump that right through the sieve. I'm going to go ahead and pause for a second. This is a two-handed job to go ahead and scrape that out. All right, I'm unpausing, and as you can see there, I'm just above a medium temperature. I've scraped out the bowl and moved it into the sieve. We're going to do this in 2 steps. I'm going to tuck that to the side there. First thing I'm going to do is just kind of lift up the sieve and shake it through. This is going to get the vast majority of the curd, because it's a thin pudding, remember, all the way through, and kind of shift it off to the side a little bit to let it go through some of those areas. Maybe tap it a few times. And then we end up with just a little bit of residue on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and work that with the whisk next, but I'm going to pause again because it's, you guessed it, a two-handed job. All right, I'm going to kind of show you this a little bit one-handed as much as I can. You're basically going to use the sieve to push these little, see, scrambled egg bits until that is all you have left is the scrambled egg bits and no more creaminess around them. I am almost done. All right, as you can see, we are down to just some scrambled egg bits on this side, and you end up with a mess of pudding stuck to the underside that I'll then scrape off with the scraper and be right back with you in a second. Okay, all done, creamy and smooth. This is the point where if I were adding the butter, I would dice up about a quarter stick of cold butter and just gently fold it in with the spatula until it melts. It adds an extra creaminess to it, but it takes away some from the tart, and I prefer the tart. And again, I have a lot of friends who don't do butter. Once you put it in the jar, you just sprinkle a little bit of lemon zest on top, or you can sprinkle some on top here and work its way through. Next step that we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and pour. I've got one of those big mouthed canning jar funnels, and we're going to go ahead and pour that in. I'm going to move quickly to the other empty jar and pour the rest in and hopefully not make a mess on my stovetop. And as you can see, that pretty evenly makes a jar and a half. All right, well, I hope you all enjoyed my lemon curd and tasting it as much as I do. And that yours comes out just as tasty. And thanks for watching.